triangles rather, and remember things like cubes. Like if you have this at your like at the back of your mind, like you'll be good, because once you look at like the figure itself, like the way I started drawing this head was that I used a cylinder. Let me use a different color so that I'll show you. I'll use green. I'll use green. This guy over here, this is a cylinder. And you shouldn't just be thinking about, because most times people just think about like, oh, there's eyes, oh, there's nose and all that. Like, don't worry about that. Worry about the overall shape first of all. And if you look at the torso, you're going to see like this can either be it can be a cube, right? It can be a cube like this. Yeah, this can be a cube, this can be a box. Yeah, or depending on what you're seeing, it can be a cylinder itself. This can be a cylinder depending on how you want to represent it. Yeah, or it could even be a circle, and then of course there's a center line, and you can see it's actually starting to look like a cylinder. Yeah, a sphere rather. And then let me pick one. I'll just use a cylinder. I'll use a cylinder. Yeah, you can see this is a cylinder, right? And then there's guidelines, of course, and then this is another cylinder. Yes, this is another cylinder as well. Yeah, and the legs over here is another cylinder again, and this leg is another cylinder again. So it's just like simple shapes, and like the pelvis is like a triangle, right? It's a triangle. It's a triangle. And if you just have this, the deltoid is a sphere or circle. This is a cylinder. This guy is another cylinder. Sphere, cylinder, another cylinder. Right, and then you can then add those forms or the things that give it the shape that it does later on. But you need to think about it in terms of like shapes first of all. And if you have this at the back of your head, you can see it's all about shapes and guidelines. Shapes and guidelines, that's just all it's about. So if you do that, like just think about the shapes first of all. If you're drawing, whenever you're drawing anything, think about the overall shape, not just think about the detail. And that would really help you, hopefully at least.